Hi everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Humanity Cast. This is the fourth episode of my audio series. The purpose is to focus on humanitarian and philanthropic works of the NGO space in Zambia. In today's episode, we are going to tackle the main theme of what problem you are really solving coming up with your NGO, and thus the need to have a well thought written plan of why you plan to come up with your NGO. You see, a lot of NGOs fail not because they are not good, they do really fail because they don't consider the problem that they are trying to tackle in their community. So you may ask, what problem do I need to solve and everything like that? That's the where the needs assessment comes in. So what is a needs assessment? So a needs assessment is a systematic process of identifying and addressing gaps between current conditions and desired conditions or wants. So really it's just you addressing the need of what your community needs for it to change. So you may consider, like, why is a needs assessment essential? It validates your mission and it guides your project. It helps ensure funding. Even when getting funding, you need a needs assessment, and it helps demonstrate accountability and awareness. And most importantly, it will be needed in the registration of your NGO. So as we go on the step by step and each component that it will need, you will need a pen and paper because you will need to write down some points, and they may help you. Actually, at the end of the video, I'll provide a sample of how a needs assessment is supposed to look like. So firstly, when you're writing your needs assessment would need an introduction. So in your introduction, it's just a brief background of the community or issue you're trying to tackle, and the purpose of why you are writing the needs assessment needs to be in the introduction, and who is conducting it. In this case, you can write the name of your NGO. This needs assessment was conducted by this and that NGO. All that is written in the introduction. Don't worry, there'll be a sample at the end of the video, but just write down, jot this down with a pen and paper around you. Just get a pen and paper and write. So the first thing is introduction, and I've explained what is needed in the introduction. Then you jump onto the methodology. So the methodology is simply methods that you used conducting your research in the needs assessment. This can be interviews, this can be surveys, this can be you did community service, and in the methodology you also need to write who participated in writing that method, or coming up with that method, I mean. Then the key findings, you also need to indicate key findings. So first introduction, to methodology, then the key findings or the current situation. So in the key finding and current situation here, writing issues or gaps that you found, or you use evidence of real examples found. For example, you can write it like in Muchinga province, here it was found that 7 out of 10 children lack access to clean water and sanitation, etc. Then you go to the analysis, right? Analysis, what do the findings tell us, or what do the findings tell you? You analyze that. Then you also underlay the causes that need the agency and scale of the issue. You will need to analyze what you found. Then now you also do the community voice as the fifth option. This one is optional. Community voices doesn't really matter, but you can write it in your needs assessment also. So you can share direct quotes or summaries from community members. For example, you can say the maybe member of parliament for Muchinga said this and that about this situation, thus this is why we're coming up with this and that, or that is included. Then after the community voices, which is an optional part, You also write recommendation. In the recommendation, it's just simply what should be done next. It's you now who is recommending what should be done next, like what your organization is going to do next, and the possible project solutions or interventions that are going to be brought up. And then lastly, conclusion. You reiterate the agency and summarize the call to action of your NGO. Yeah. And then some common mistakes that really occur when people writing needs assessment, the ones that I've seen, are guessing without evidence. Just, maybe using, these days there's artificial intelligence, maybe using some artificial intelligence to write up your needs assessment without you going out in the field and without you assessing the actual problem. Actually, this is what causes the problems in the organization, because first place, you never really went out in the community to assess the situation, and then you just come up with a needs assessment. This one needs research. Then you make it too long and too vague. The needs assessment is just too short. Actually, it has got that just for introduction. First, you write the introduction 1, the methodology 2, you write the current situation or the key findings 3, you write the analysis 4, then you write the recommendation 5. Not recommendation. The recommendation 5 and the conclusion 6, and that optional part for community voices, you can also include it. This is just short and brief. You don't really need to make it too vague and too long. If it's too vague and too long, the voice will be affected. So here are some pro tips that I've noticed. Some pro tips are, start small, involve the community, keep your writing structured and clear, and back up every claim of what you researched. Yeah. So if you do need help writing a needs assessment, I'm available. So let me just show you a sample of how a needs assessment looks like. And if you need help writing a needs assessment, I am here. You can email me imwangala@gmail.com, or you can look me up on Facebook with the handle Emmanuel Mwangala, just my name. Yeah, you find me and then you just message me. I'll be able to find your message. All right, let's now analyze a sample of a needs assessment. All right, so here is a sample of how a needs assessment looks like. So this needs assessment was for a charity foundation called the Kauma Kelvin Charity Foundation. So as you can see in the introduction, you introduce your NGO, what your NGO does. There is the introduction. So this is the introduction and the aim of the NGO. Like what you aim to improve, yes. Then you also say the purpose of the needs assessment. Then there is the purpose of the needs assessment. Just like I said, it's content introduction. Then thereafter, after the introduction, you go to the objectives of the needs assessment. What are the objectives of you writing this needs assessment? After writing the objectives, you go to the methodology. So methodology, I say that these are methods that you used to obtain your data in the needs assessment. So in this case, for Mr. Kelvin Kauma, he assessed it through observations, consultations, secondary data like past studies. You can even research on the internet about the problem, and past NGO studies and the alignment to the constitution also. Then community profile and key issues. So you do the target groups. What are you targeting? What's your target group as your organization? What are the key challenges? The stakeholder engagement. Which stakeholders did you engage? Gaps identified, the area and the gaps identified. So the area, education, nutrition, psychological support, psychosocial support, whatever. And then the strategic recommendations. Now short term, in this case, you can write about the short term actions, medium term actions, long term actions, and the conclusion. So needs assessment differ. So what I explained above, and this is just a sample also, so you can base your needs assessment on this sample, or you can just get it from the explanation I did. All right. And if you need help with the needs assessment, don't hesitate to contact me, because for this needs assessment, actually, like this is now operating. I helped register them. So if you do need help registering your NGO or writing up your needs assessment, don't hesitate to get hold of me, Manu Mangela. And just in case you have an NGO and you need to showcase it, or you need like to be featured on the podcast, to be interviewed and be showcased of what you do, again, don't hesitate to contact me. I need to collaborate with people, because the purpose of this Humanity Cast is to showcase what the NGO space is doing in Zambia. And the whole purpose is to showcase what you guys are doing, what you people are doing out there. The philanthropic work that you're doing, the humanitarian work that you're doing has to be assessed or by a lot of people, because we never know who's watching, right? Yes. So if you did watch to the end, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to share. And yeah, look out for episode 5 of the cast. Thank you very much for sticking to the end.